those people who have helped us and then expressing our thanks to them, gratefulness to them. So let us begin our discussion with this the mantra Tabu Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kobibhiriritam Kalmashapaham Sravana Mangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Grinanti E Bhurida Janaha. Friends, in our last discussion on November 18th, we have discussed how, in a very simple way, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna explained that Nitya and Leela. These are the two words he used, Nitya and Leela. From the absolute to the relative. Nitya is eternal, unchanging. So he said Nitya. And Leela is changes, different things are happening. So it is absolute to the relative. From the infinite to the finite. From the undifferentiated to the differentiate. From the unconditioned to the conditioned. And again, it is possible to go back from the relative to the absolute. So Nitya and Leela to Nitya. So this is the whole circle of our human life, and those who have understood it, this is spiritual life. So from this place we were born and we traveled the whole path and go back to our original place. From where we were created? In the same idea, it has been expressed in the very, very poetical way, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And it says, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnam Adaya, Purnameva Avashishyate. So this is a beautiful way it is expressing that Purnam Ada. So that is infinite, the Supreme Brahman. That means the Supreme Brahman. Purna Idam. This, the conditioned Brahman, manifested Brahman, that is also the Purna, full. In the last our discussion we said how the Supreme Brahman is becoming the Saguna Brahma, and then the Hiranyagarbha, then the creation. The same theory, the Tantra is also telling Paramashiva, Sadashiva, Kali, the Paramavishnu, then the Vishnu, then the Brahma. So this way, in the three steps, it is coming. So here it says Purnamada, that is the Purna. Sri Ramakrishna says Nitya. And Purna Idam, this that you see is also that he says Leela. Whose Leela? Or the same Purna. This only we have to understand. But in the beginning, all this different manifestation, it distracts our attention, our mind, our focus. So the spiritual gurus, they say, withdraw your mind and concentrate on one point. In our yoga, that guru, Patanjali, the Patanjali Darshan, it says, you have to withdraw the mind. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Chitta, that is that our mind, where all our past actions and those impressions are stored, that is Chitta. Vritti, now the waves from that, Nirodha, should be stopped. Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. We have to stop that. So why these different waves are coming? Because of the eyes, the ear, the nose, all my organs are going out, and then they're going to the objects. Eye goes to the rupa, the form, and then brings back the information. Nose, the smell, giving back to the mind. And all the information, when it's coming to the mind and mind is sending to the antakarana, the storehouse, immediately the reaction is coming. So these waves all torment constantly. And it likes to go out because so interesting. The curiosity, they always like to go out. So that is the reason we have to stop it. And there is the fight. Meditation is really a great struggle. Almost like the wrestling with my own mind. I want to control my mind. I want to put the mind at the feet of God, or like to visualize my Ishta Devata within my heart. Mind goes here, there. My mind is not listening to me. So this is Nitya and Leela. This is all Leela. The Leela means all the waves, all the actions and their reactions. And result, misery. Now when we are thinking something and trying to do something and not getting the success, all the misery comes. A little bit of success, immediately ego comes, and all sorts of things are going on. And ultimately, before death, we lie down and think, oh my God, what have I done? Nothing I have achieved. Kruto smara kritagyam smara, kruto smara kritagyam smara. Oh mind, think of your action, think of the past that you have done. So that is the time, the terrible time. So to go back from there, when we go back, we go to the source. And when we are in the source, everything is done. So happy we are. So in this mundane life also, those who have come from India or China or different places, I don't know other places, but I have seen the Indians when they are working over here, a so comfortable life. Everywhere, all the nice roads, the beautiful building, and all greeneries, everything very neat and clean. So wonderful life in America. But still you talk to the Indians, they like to live over here, but the mind is in India. They like to go and visit the same village, like to talk to their friends. They will take their some gift. So all those things, constantly thinking about that place, and whatever is little possible, they will help to develop that primary school where they studied. This all goes on. Why? We cannot forget that. The original, the source from where we have come, we cannot forget. The same way, we have come from God, the Brahman. How can you forget? And because we have forgotten that, because we are thinking that we will get all these things, satisfaction, as we used to get in our native place, we try over here, but we don't get dissatisfaction. So we have to go back. And going back, the process is called spiritual practice. What is Adhyatmikata? This much. So going back to the source. And what is that source? Brahman, Atman, and Ishvara. By that way only we can think of. This same idea has been expressed in, as Sri Ramakrishna says in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, as I just quoted. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he was not quoting from any scripture. He was expressing emphatically his own experience. In the page 600 53, if you read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, I have clearly perceived all these things. Nitya, Leela, Leela, back to Nitya, all these things. And how he is expressing is so charming. I have clearly perceived all these things. It has been revealed to me that there exists an ocean of consciousness without limit. The ocean of consciousness, he could stop over here. But the moment he said this, you would have started thinking about the ocean. We know so many oceans in the world now. So this ocean, even the ocean is having an end somewhere. Maybe very, very big, but still the Indian Ocean, Atlantic, Pacific, why different names? Because the different area, it has an area. But the moment Sri Ramakrishna is telling unlimited, without limit, see the words he is using. The words is this, ocean of consciousness without limit, that I have seen. That means the ocean, the conception of ocean that we now think about, that is also not correct. It is unlimited. There is no limit at all. From it come all things of the relative plane, and in it they merge again. From it come, and in it merge again. Nitya, Leela, Leela, Nitya. What is God realization? This knowledge only, this idea only, and nothing else. This is called Pratyaksha Anubhuti, the direct realization. Now, it proves this type of direct realization proves the statement that we find in the scriptures. When the scripture says, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, we only try to understand that, oh, this must be there. But when Sri Ramakrishna realized it, no ambiguity. He says in a very clear term, I have seen that infinite ocean of consciousness. From that ocean of consciousness, things are coming up and then again merging back. So these are the things. The infinite ocean. So that is what Sri Ramakrishna said. Then he said, worldly people ask why one does not get rid of attachment to the last onlooker. Why he said worldly people? He was talking with Mahimacharan and others. These worldly peoples, Jagatika, they only think that this world is the only place and there is nothing else. Nothing else. So that is called worldly people. In India, there is a philosopher and a group of people, they follow that path. And they only say, we don't know whether previously life was there, whether in the future there will be life will be there. This is the life, friend, let us all enjoy. So that is also there. So this type of philosophy is there. Those who think in that way only, this is the only life and I like to enjoy it and enjoy it with all the objects of these worldly things and all the carnal things only for the physical satisfaction and a little bit of mental satisfaction, they are called worldly. Because they are considering this world which is constantly changing before their eyes. Their body, their mind, their family, their everything, all around them, everything constantly changing. But still thinking this is permanent. So these people are called samsari, worldly people. Sri Ramakrishna could never able to touch them. When this type of mentality, the people they came and stood before him when they left, he asked people to wash that particular place with the Ganga water. Because these people were only attention how to get benefit, how to get all things from me. So the people should, those who are trying to realize God, trying to become spiritual, should avoid these people. Their company is dangerous. Why dangerous? Because the constant misery. They will take you constantly to the suffering. Sri Ramakrishna is telling. These people sometimes comes and they ask why we can't go give away this attachment. Sri Ramakrishna is telling, attachment disappears after the realization of God. Attachment disappears means a little attachment will be there always till we realize God. After the complete realization of God, the complete conviction, they will be there. Attachment won't be there. This is, we have to understand again and again. We always think that the moment a person has realized the Brahman, he doesn't see this world. He doesn't see the varieties of people, the animals, the birds, the flowers, and he only thinks something lighted everywhere. No, not like that. Of course, he realized the oneness in everything with that Atman manifesting it through different things. But in normal time, other time, he sees those things, lives with them, but at the same time, he is not attached, bound by those things. That is the idea. It's called Jivana Mukta idea. He is living but not bound. What is the binding us? Attachment. So this he is telling, if a man wants to taste the bliss of Brahman, then his mind no longer runs after the enjoyment of sense pleasures or wealth or name and fame. The attachment disappears after the realization of God. If a man wants to taste the bliss of Brahman, then his mind no longer runs after the enjoyment of sense pleasures. All worship and spiritual discipline are directed to one end alone, namely to get rid of worldly attachments. Get rid of the world, he is still not telling. Attachment. Get rid of the world, it is not the world, it is worldly attachment. Even those who leave their hearth and home, they become monks, they become nuns, they become mendicants, they are roaming around. If the idea is not clear, then they suffer. A little piece of the clothes or maybe a blanket, maybe these and little other things, they become attached to those things. And that is also binding them. They become so much attached to those. The little thing, nothing is there, even then. So it is not the world, it is the attachment. It's not the people all around you. It is your reaction to them. So this is the thing. What is spirituality? We are thoroughly confused. So one of our Swamiji, he used to ask us when we joined this order, then he used to ask us, what is your idea? Why you have come over here? Now naturally the young minds, to God, for the God realization we have come. And what is this God realization? So all they will start thinking. So no one could give any proper answer. I asked this question to our devotees also, and the very senior devotees, they could not answer. Actually, we are not having the clear idea what is God realization. This God, it has different conceptions. The dualist, they are expressing and giving a idea about God. And the yogis, they are also giving a different idea about God. What is this God realization? Suppose Atman and the Ishvara, we will come to that. Let us conclude the Sri Ramakrishna's these words. All worship and spiritual discipline are directed to one end alone, namely to get rid of worldly attachment. I am again and again reading this line to tell you, but at the same time to tell myself. So this is the important thing. When you are reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the one or two words only, that is sufficient. If we learn on one day, sufficient. And we have to go on brooding over that, meditating on that, nididhyasana, on that, attachment. I will be with everything, everyone, but should not have the attachment. Then everything is over. I need not to leave the hearth and home if I develop that capacity. But the problem in the society, problem in the family is very difficult to give up the attachment. That's why the people, those who have having the strong desire to realize God, they leave their family, they become the monastics. But after becoming monastics, if we forget this idea, then we become attached to these ashramas. Oh, I have done this, I have planted this tree, I made this, I made that, I. Again, the same that Swami Vivekananda said, there outside in the householders, they are tied with the iron chain. And here, you monks, you are tied with the golden chain. But both are chains. What is the chain? Attachment. Whether I am a monk or you are a householder, it doesn't matter at all. But if the householder is thinking, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, if I die, what will happen to it? Is a householder, samsari. But if a monk also thinking in the same way, oh, I developed this ashram, I did this, I collected money, I collected all this, now what will happen to me after me? He is also is householder, because the attachment. The Swamiji said it is the golden chain and that is the iron chain. So we should be very, very attentive to these particular teaching. Get rid of worldly attachment. The more you meditate on God, how the attachment will go? Meditate on God. Concentrate on God. Constantly think about God. The more you meditate on God, the less you will be attached to the trifling things of the world. The more you love the lotus feet of God, the less you will crave the things of the world. You will get rid of the terrible desire, beastly desire, and acquire godly qualities. Sri Ramakrishna is so clear in a small paragraph. It's page 653. Small paragraph, isn't that enough? This is the thing. That's why I always say the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is the Panchama Veda. In the Veda, they teach us the truth. And here Sri Ramakrishna, the same truth in so defined, simple way. What is the main goal? The goal is to go back to the source. And what is the source? That's the Brahman. From where we have come? From Brahman. Why we can't remember that? Because of the attachment to the worldly things. What are the worldly things? temporary things. And this, from here, we are back calculation, we have to go back. How we will go back? Detachment. We will live with all those things, utilize those things, but we'll never get attached to that. That is the main thing. We should not be attached to that. And what will happen when we are practicing this, when you are trying to go back? We will develop, Ramakrishna says, godly qualities. And what are those godly qualities? In the 16th chapter, the first 3 verses, the Lord Sri Krishna has given the 26 wonderful qualities in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, first 3 verses, all those divine qualities. 26 qualities, that's all. What is God realization? Developing, acquiring those 26 qualities. Then why we bang our head here and there? Because we don't have the faith. That's why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling faith, and our today's discussion is based on the faith. God can be realized only through faith. So we will come to that God can be realized only through faith. You will get rid of all the desire, and you will, though you may still have to live in the world, you will live as a Jivan Mukta. The Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, you will live as a Jivana Mukta. So when we read this, we feel, oh, this is so simple. If only we could do this, we could be Jivana Mukta. We will never suffer. Whether people are appreciating us, people are criticizing us, whether these things are there or not, but as long as I am in a position and I have some duties to perform, the responsibility to take care, we will do that. We must do that. With all sincerity we should perform that. But at the same time, mentally, where I am free, my thoughts are my things. Nobody can control that. So we should think that I am not bound by all this. That much. And we are free. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling like that. A man born with an element of Shiva becomes a jnani. Now Sri Ramakrishna is slowly taking us in other. What is the jnana and bhakti, devotion? Knowledge and devotion, jnana and bhakti. So what is the jnana? Understanding that we are the same Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, repetition of that. What is that Brahman consciousness? I am not this flesh. I am not these bones. I am not all these things that the body is having. Not even I am not the mind. I am not anything over here. I am the Brahman. Shankaracharya, he has written a beautiful, the slokas, the verses. Mano buddhyaham kara chittani naham. That is the path. Again and again, we have to go on repeating those things and thinking that I am the Brahman, all pervading. Shivoham. I am that auspiciousness. What is that auspiciousness? What is that purity? No attachment to the worldly things. No hankering for the worldly things. No desire to get the name, fame or anything. No attachment, in one word. That is called Shivahood. Shiva is everywhere, but not attached at all. So that is called those who have that type of capacity in the mind, they go for the jnana. Sri Ramakrishna says, a man born with the element of Shiva becomes jnani. His mind is always inclined to the feeling that the world is unreal and Brahman alone is real. But when a man is born with the element of Vishnu, he develops ecstatic love of God. Another way to go. This is the beauty of Hinduism. It's not the same coat putting on everyone. No. If you have that feeling that I should cook for God, I should make a garland for God, and then I will decorate God, I should cry and sing, that is also the way, that is also the valid path to realize God. And Sri Ramakrishna is telling, this is the Vishnu, this is the Ishvara, the God. And another, he is not taking the help of that God, he is becoming that I am standing on my own feet and I am not this body, not the mind, not the senses. So two different paths Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning. After the devotees had left the master, the Mahimacharan brought Hajra to the room. Then, now we are in a lofty ideals. We were in that. Now suddenly, the Master Mahashaya, he is depicting, the scene is changing. It will be just a normal discussion as usually we do. The Sri Ramakrishna is sitting, we can imagine. The Mahimacharan, the great devotee whom Master is to, Sri Ramakrishna is to love, he brought Hajra. Why? Now he is telling, Sir, I have a complaint against you. Mahimacharan is telling Sri Ramakrishna, Sir, I have a complaint against you. Why have you asked Hajra to go home? He has no desire to return to his family. Mahimacharan, a person who is to study the scripture, and naturally he used to think that going back to the family is attachment, and if he can leave that, it's good. The Sri Ramakrishna should appreciate Hajra because Hajra don't like to go back. He has brought to Sri Ramakrishna. Now we will find what is Dharma, what is religion. Sri Ramakrishna. His mother has told Ramlal how much she is suffering on account of his being away from home. Hajra's mother, she has sent the request through Ramlal, another person, Sri Ramakrishna's relative, and to Sri Ramakrishna to ask Hajra to come back, because without his presence many things are not being done in the family. That is usually happen. So I have asked Hajra to go home at least for 3 days, at least for 3 days, and see her. This is the responsibility that you have taken, you must admit. And sometimes we have seen, suppose the Swami, sannyasi, a monk, he is not having any brother or sister, his only mother, father also passed away, only mother, she is suffering, she needs some help. The sannyasi is allowed to go and stay with the mother, to serve the mother, arrange something for her, like that. Ramakrishna Mission nowadays, I have heard that our headquarters, they have developed a project, a program that if the father and the mother of a monk is not having any other support, any other children, because the only son or the daughter has become monk or nun, Ramakrishna Mission will give the shelter. We have that wonderful, we can say that home for them. So they can come, they can stay, there is a temple, they can attend the program. Why? Because this is the duty a son should do, a child should do to the parents. Can anyone succeed in spiritual discipline if it causes suffering to his mother? The Sri Ramakrishna asking this question. Can anyone succeed in spiritual discipline if it causes suffering to his mother? While visiting Vrindavan, now he is telling his own experience. I had almost made up my mind to live there. When I remembered my mother, I said to myself, my mother will weep if I stay away from her. So I returned here with Mathur Babu. Besides, why should a Gyani like Hajra be afraid of going back to the world? Sri Ramakrishna is a little leg pulling. The Hajra, he used to read a lot of books, the scriptural books, Upanishad and Brahma Sutra, and sometimes he used to say, why you are going to Sri Ramakrishna? He doesn't read books. He can't read. Come to me. So like that. So Sri Ramakrishna here doing that little, as a little fun, just like the human they do. And he is telling why he should be afraid to go back, because he is the Gyani. Gyani means a person who knows that I am completely free. Nothing can bind me. Mahima with a smile. The Mahima also knew that. Sir, that would be a pertinent question if Hazra were a Gyani. They knew the Hazra used to say like that, but in reality he was not. Master smiling. Oh, Hazra has attained everything. He has just a little attachment to the world because of his children and a small debt. Sri Ramakrishna is telling, because of the children and the loan that he took from the market, from the people, for that only he is sitting over here. As people say, my aunt is now in perfect health, only she is slightly ill. Aunt means the Hazra's mother. Mahima, where, sir, is Hazra's knowledge? Master smiling. Oh, you don't know. Everybody says Hazra is quite a man. Everybody knows that he lives in Dakshineshwar temple garden. People talk of nothing but Hazra. Who would bother to mention my name? They all were laughing. So now this gives a picture that sometimes, and in Christianity, as they say, the word it is not, we should not apply, but that is the word they say, false prophet. There are sometimes some people, they will behave as if they are having some great spiritual knowledge and this. So this is the problem. These people hypnotize themselves and they start thinking that they are very highly spiritual, and they like to guide others also. When they are thinking that hypnotized, I am very spiritual, there is no problem. But when they try to guide others, then in the Upanishad it will say, Andanaiva niyamana yatanda, as if a blind is leading another blind. So both will fall in the ditch. So that is the problem with the Hazra. He will be there, he will be calling people, he will be quoting from the scripture, and he will explain in such a way as if he knows so many things. And ordinary people, they don't understand anything. So they go and do like that. So in Belur Math, there was a person, he used to go for marketing. He was a nice gentleman. He used to go for marketing on behalf of Belur Math. And Belur Math, naturally 300 monks, 400 monks. So every day the huge market, and the sailors, the shopkeepers also used to give him lot of importance, because if he goes and purchase, a lot of things he will purchase every time. So and people used to know about him. It was the Durga Puja time. So we were sitting and collecting the donation in one place. Suddenly I noticed that gentleman has put on a very nice dress, a dhoti and the chadar, and he was standing like a holy man under the mango tree, the Swamiji's mango tree near the Belur Math old temple. He was standing there. People from the villages, they don't know. Usually the Swamis and the Brahmacharis, they will be in their rooms and they will be working somewhere else. The people can't get the approach to them. So they found him standing there, so they came and started touching his feet, and he was very happy. And he was calling the people, asking them to touch his feet and also blessing them. Suddenly he turned back and saw, I am also observing him that. Then he put his finger on his lips and said, don't say anything. And he was enjoying that. Now those people, they will come, they will think that, oh, the very simple, kind-hearted people, they came to visit the Belur Math. That is a great experience, and they will go back and say, there was a holy man standing under the mango tree, and we touched him, etc., etc. So that is the way it goes. About the Hazra also like that. The people sometimes do not understand who is a real person. They hear the Hazra. Sri Ramakrishna is making the joke. Hazra. Now Hazra is telling, you, sir, you are incomparable. You have no peer in the world. Therefore, nobody understands you. Hazra, that way, sometimes use this type of statement we can understand. Hazra understood Sri Ramakrishna. But again that ego will come, and his desire to collect some fund, collect some money to pay back the loan, that was also there. But he told this, though Sri Ramakrishna was cutting jokes, and he said, you, sir, are incomparable. You have no peer in the world. Therefore, nobody understands you, Master. There you are. To be sure, no one can have dealings with the incomparable. So, why should people mention me at all? The Sri Ramakrishna is so difficult to have the debate with Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna immediately giving the reply. That is the reason. That is exactly what I am telling. I am not having any peer, and this incomparable. So I am such a person, the people cannot understand me, so they go to you. That is exactly what I was telling. Mahima, what does he know, sir? He will do your bidding. The Mahima is supporting the Hazra and then telling, whatever you say, Hazra will do. Master, that is not so. You had better ask him about it. He said to me, you and I are on even terms. As here we call the same page like that, or on the same. You and I, the Hazra once told Sri Ramakrishna, there is no difference. So how can I advise Hazra? In the Bhagavad Gita, when the Arjuna was giving the philosophy, he was telling that we should not fight, we should rather beg, and then let these people enjoy whatever they like, let them do whatever they like to do. Krishna was quietly waiting. If we read the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the despondency of the Arjuna, Krishna is giving no answer. He was quietly waiting. Then Arjuna, afterwards, with all these arguments that he was forwarding, then afterwards he said, Shishyasteham shadimam tam prapannam. I am your disciple. I surrender. Please help me, and so that I can give me the guidance. Sri Ramakrishna here waiting. But what Hazra will do, because of the ego, the man's ego is so high, he is not ready to accept anything from anyone. So that is the problem. You have to be humble. Otherwise you cannot realize God, you cannot get any good thing from anyone. So this is Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning. That's why should people mention all that? You had better ask him about it. Mahima, he argues a great deal. That is the Hazra's, the weakness he cannot accept. Now see, today we all so much pray, and we all are constantly trying to have a glimpse of Sri Ramakrishna in our meditation. And this Hazra used to live with Sri Ramakrishna. Just the Sri Ramakrishna's room Before that, there was an open place, veranda. He used to sit over there, but he could not understand Sri Ramakrishna. So even if we are so close to God, if we don't have that good qualities to understand, and what is that good quality? Humbleness, less ego. I am not telling the completely free from ego. Completely free from ego means you are God realized. Less ego, then you will understand the greatness of a person, otherwise not. And secondly, the blessings of God to understand whether he is a true, genuine, spiritual person or a false prophet. So this we have to. So these are the things that will help us to proceed towards the spirituality in a successful way. Master, now and then he teaches me a lesson. Sometimes I scold him when he argues too much. Later, when I am lying in bed inside my mosquito curtain, I feel unhappy at the idea of having offended him. So I leave bed, go to Hajra and salute him. Then I feel peace of mind. So this is a simple thing. The Sri Ramakrishna, when he is scolding Hajra, he is thinking that, oh, he may be the tormenting in the mind. He can't do anything against Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna himself goes out to salute him and say, I am sorry. But at the same time, the same Sri Ramakrishna, the next line, same Sri Ramakrishna, so compassionate, he is rectifying the Hajra. This is the line. To Hajra, why do you address the pure Atman as Ishvara? Now Hajra used to study the scripture, and naturally it is to have that discussion and argument with the people. Sri Ramakrishna from his room heard it. Now he is rectifying Hajra, not finding fault with Hajra. Don't find fault with anyone, Ma Sharada Devi said. Sri Ramakrishna is not finding fault, but rectifying Hajra. Why? Because he is teaching people that he should not make any mistake. The conception should be clear. And what is that conception? One is Atman, another is Ishvara. This is the philosophical idea. One should get clear, otherwise very difficult. We talk about the Ishvara and we again mix up with the Atman, with the Brahman. The two completely different conception, completely different idea. Sri Ramakrishna is rectifying him. Why do you address the pure Atman? Not only Atman, pure Atman. There is pure Atman and there is Jiva Atman. What is the Jiva Atma? That pure Atman reflected within our intellect, that we call Jivatma, individual self or the soul. Pure Atman as Ishvara, Ishvara the God. The pure Atman is inactive and is the witness of the three states. Inactive and witness of the three states. He is not doing anything. Again, in the previous day we discussed that pure Atman is not doing anything. Paramashiva is not doing anything. And this pure Atman without any condition, not doing anything, is only the witness. Shakshi, the Jagannath Mahaprabhu, that is the pure Atman. So that's why Jagannath Mahaprabhu is not having the hands. Jagannath Mahaprabhu is not doing anything. So not having the hands. He is not moving anywhere because he is already present everywhere. That's why the Jagannath Mahaprabhu is not having the legs. But some people don't understand this. This is the wonderful conception of the all-pervading consciousness. And this consciousness is constantly watching, observing That's why I call Shakshi. This Shakshi, the witness, not having the eyelid. The Jagannath Mahaprabhu is not having the eyelids. So he is telling this witness of the three states. What are the three states? The Jagrat, Shapna, Shushupti. Jagrat is waking stage, Shapna the dream stage, Shushupti deep sleep stage. Who is observing the changes of these three? That pure Atman. When I think of the act of creation, preservation and destruction, then I call the pure Atman Ishvara. So how clear it is. When the same pure Atman coming down, as if coming down, and creating, preserving, and again withdrawing his creation, that is called Ishvara. What is the pure Atman like? Then he gives an example. Here the pure Atman, Kathopanishad, is very difficult to give the definition, that we all know. But here the Kathopanishad says, Naiva Bacha na Manasa Praptum Shakko na Chakshusha Astiti Brubato Annatra Katham Tadupalabhyate. Now what is this pure Atman? It says, Bacha, my words, na Manasa, my mind, my thought, Praptum Shakko, they cannot reach it, they cannot express it. Na Chakshusha, forget about the eye, forget about all my sense organs, they cannot understand this. Then how will you understand that? Ostiti, it is there. I am conscious. That asti, it is there. That is the proof that it is there. And the same way, Mahanirvan Tantra, it says, Yato Bishyam Samudbhutam, from where this world is created, Ena Yatancha Tishtati, after the creation, where it is sustaining, Yashmin Sarvani Liyante, again, where everything goes back and merges, Giyam, know it for sure, Tad Brahma Lakshanaihi. It doesn't say that is Brahman. You cannot conclude. So this is the scripture. You cannot simply say this is Brahman. No. So you say Lakshana. Lakshana, that is, by that way we can understand. So something is born and then sustaining and then dissolving. There must be something on which everything is happening. That is the Lakshana. And what is Ishvara? The time is short, we will just quote from here. The Ishvara, I am quoting from the Patanjal Darshan. It is 24th verse in the Patanjal Darshan. It says, Klesha, Karma, Vipaka, Ashai, Apuramishta, Purusha Vishesha Ishvaraha. It says that if you like to meditate, you can take the help of the conception of God also. Ishvara Pranidhanat Ba. That you can meditate on God also. You can concentrate on God. And what is that God? Now, the Rishi is giving the example. Klesha, Karma, Vipaka, Ashaya, Apuramishta, Purusha Vishesha. What is the Klesha? The long back we gave the discourse on the Patanjal Darshan. It is there in the YouTube. So you can get that. Why should we meditate? I think that was the topic. The whole Patanjal Darshan we studied. Why should we meditate? A klesha means the five things. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. What is that avidya? Ignorance. Asmita, ego. Raga, desire. Desha, aversion, like this. Then it comes, this is called klesha. So Ishvara is free from all this. Second, karma. What is karma? Work, good or bad. Then Vipaka, the result of the karma, result of the work. Ashaya, desire for the result. That is the ashaya. Aparamishta, unattached. So what is then Ishvara? The one which is within the heart as the Atman, the Jivatman, and which is free from all these, that is called Ishvara. So this is the Ishvara and the Brahman. This is the difference. So Sri Ramakrishna rectified him because maybe he heard he was giving a wrong conception to someone about the Paramatma, the pure Atman, and the Ishvara. That toward evening, Sri Ramakrishna was pacing the room. Aim was sitting alone, thinking. Suddenly the master said to him tenderly, "Please give me a couple of linen shirts. As you know, I cannot use everybody's things. I thought of asking Captain for the shirts, but you had better given them to me." Look at it, Captain. As we discussed previously, he was the ambassador of the king of Nepal in those days, the rich man. And Master Moshe is a humble teacher. And in those days, the teacher were not having any good salary. Sri Ramakrishna, the God, he is asking from him and not taking from that rich man. And he refused to accept from the business people who came to give him money and many other things. So this is Sri Ramakrishna. This we have observed. So ordinary people, they will be sending the money, giving the fund and all that, helping. And the rich people, they don't like to give. And I say, no, they are not giving, not like that. Sri Ramakrishna doesn't want their money. That's why the desire to donate is not coming into there. Sri Ramakrishna don't, a very choosy person. Choosy God, you can say. So he don't like to accept. At dusk, incense was burned, Sri Ramakrishna's room, and as usual, he bowed before the pictures of gods and goddesses on the walls and chanted their names softly. So this is the picture we get how Sri Ramakrishna used to live. Did every day and his daily routine, the evening time, burning an incense sticks and offering pranam and taking the name of gods and goddesses and chanting. From outside, one could hear the murmuring of the Ganges and the music of the evening worship in the temples of Kali, Vishnu and Shiva. Through the door, one could see the priest at a distance moving from one temple to another, a bell in his left hand and the light in his right, and attendant carrying the gong. So the wonderful picture. At a time of Sri Ramakrishna, the priest, after offering the arati at the mother's temple and then coming to the Shiva temples or the Vishnu temple, they are going on ringing the bell in the left hand, and they are holding the light in the right hand, and a person following him, he is also the gong, the small the round shaped thing, they go on beating. Mainly the Buddhists, they are using that gong. So we can see from the door of the Sri Ramakrishna, those who have visited the Dakshineshwar, they can imagine it. And the evening melody was in harmony with the spirit of the hour and the place with the innermost thoughts of the worshippers. For the time being, the sordid things of daily life were forgotten. Later, Sri Ramakrishna was seated in his room in his usual blissful mood. Ishan had come from Calcutta. He had burning faith in God. He used to say, if a man leaves the house with the hallowed name of Durga on his lip, hallowed name of Durga on his lips, then Shiva himself protects him with his celestial weapon. The Sri Ramakrishna used to tell, Ishan had a great faith. Sri Ramakrishna also said many a times, when you are leaving your house, if you say 3 times Durga, 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 just uttering those 3 times, then the Shiva with his divine weapon will protect you. That is the faith. And this is the line now comes. The master to Ishan, you have great faith, but I haven't so much. This Ramakrishna is humbling. All they were laughing. God can be realized only through faith. God can be realized only through faith. Friends, the next class we will discuss a little bit, whatever possible for me, about the faith. So thank you.
So the first question is from Akash Agarwal. He is asking, do we have to choose between Dharma and Moksha? Can we fulfill all our karmic duties and attain Moksha at the same time?
So if Akash, is a very good question. So Dharma leads to Moksha. And what is Dharma? The responsibilities and that you are performing, but without the attachment. What is that? Not depending on the result of it. You are performing the work diligently, perfectly, but not waiting for appreciations. So that is no attachment. And slowly, slowly, when we are not having the attachment, then that simple karmas, those duties, that dharma will take us to moksha, the liberation. And what is liberation? No attachment or attraction to the worldly things. That is liberation. Thank you.
The next question is from Kamal Chaudhary. He is asking, what is the easiest way to get grace of God?
You know, Kamal Babu, of course, everything. But only thing as the faith. If people have the faith, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, like a child is having the complete faith on the words of his mother, if the mother says that it is all right, the child will have the faith. Same faith if we are having on the God. And then having that faith in the heart, if we are praying to God or Goddess, then that is the easiest way to achieve. Thank you.
The next question is from Apurva Chakraborty. He is asking, how important it is to believe in God and to have complete faith in Him in our practical daily life?
You know that believe in God, when in the next class when we will be discussing, the believing means the proof. When Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, when he says, I am telling you, and with the promise of my mother, that there is God, one can see God, one can talk to God, one should not hesitate to believe. When the Jesus said, when the characteristics, this type of wonderful people who were not having even ego or selfishness in them, when they say there is God, then why can't we believe it? This is the first thing. And when we are believing in the God, then we are believing that the grace of God, the help of God, the blessings of God. Along with that, your effort with the blessings of God and the human effort to get the success will surely bring the success. And that is the reason in our daily life, everyday life, we should have the faith and prayer to God, and also we will also have our effort to get the success.
The next question is from Sima Vishwas. She is asking how we think about God only, our own, none is our own.
That is, Sima, this is a very good question. If we can think that, as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna in the today's, when we started reading, what is this creation? It is from that consciousness. Without that consciousness, there is nothing. So when from that consciousness we were born, so obviously we are nothing but the same God, same consciousness. Now when we are trying to go back, can you repeat that question again, Shima's question?
How we think God
our own. Okay. So then whoever is there, all of the manifestation of the same God, so we can think God our own, not only in one picture or an image that I like, but in all forms, every form. So that is called God is our own. Thank you. So let us chant this mantra and conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa drita vigraham vai Ishabataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.